Pat Mayo Hour.
Oh yes, we have returned, the Pat Mayo Hour, talking MMA once again. And for those of you who are new to the show, no, I don't exclusively cover MMA. Why? Because I don't know a ton about MMA, but what I do know is daily fantasy. And so I don't really need to know a ton about MMA when I have Cody Saftik, host of the Bookie Beatdown, in here with me to inform me about the actual players. To me, they're just, numbers. And I need to fit these numbers and pieces onto my DraftKings or Kountermove teams for Fight Night Boston and try to work out a formula. So that's the premise of this show, that people who maybe love MMA but don't know a ton about daily fantasy will learn a little bit about daily fantasy and win some money, and the other way around, those who love daily fantasy and maybe want to exploit some of the people playing the MMA that don't know a ton about daily fantasy and win some easy money that way.
Plus, if you want to know about name pronunciations, then this is also a great show, because every time you hear Pat Mayo get one of these names wrong, you will hear one of these. I missed that sound, Pat. Just missed it.
I haven't looked at them, and that's the one thing that I don't do. I don't try to research the names before, so my dyslexia kicks in. That's what I'm blaming it on. It's not a real thing, but that's what I'm going to say I have it. So, yeah, I don't pronounce the names right at all, but I am starting an even slate this year. For 2016, I'm 0 for 0.
Yeah, that's a good way to start.
Last year, I think I ended up pronouncing around like 74% of names correctly. So 26% wrong is not good.
Yeah, but those Polish cards, one card instantly, it ruins your numbers altogether.
The Polish one, really. The Polish ones weren't the ones that get me. The ones that get me are these Portuguese names that look like Italian names.
Yeah, because you kind of pronounce everything with a Spanish or Italian accent.
I know, but if I get caught in between, we'll figure that out. Anyway, so the difference between the salary caps on DraftKings and Kountermove is double. $10,000 on DraftKings, and it's $5,000 on Kountermove. You pick 5 fighters per team, but the prices on each site differ a little bit, so we're going to correspond that price, the Kountermove price, the DraftKings price, and the actual betting line to find out where the best value lies on this card. But scoring-wise, you want quick finishes, and you want a lot of them. So, is there anyone on this card to start with that you think is going to be a quick finish?
You know what? We talk about this every time. Whenever you're looking at this card, it's like, okay, who jumps off of the page as a quick finish? And that's the problem. There's not a whole lot. So there's 2 of them that right away off the bat you can see some potential for, and that's Anthony Pettis over Eddie Alvarez and maybe a Travis Brown over Matt Mitrione. Now, there's buyer beware on both these, Pat. First of all, we'll start with Matt Mitrione. Matt Mitrione really gives up submissions quite easily. However, known as Meathead for a reason, this guy can take a shot. If you ever remember on Ultimate Fighter Season 10 against Scott Junk, he literally stood in front of a guy who weighs 300 pounds and took everything to the head. On top of that, he played 2 seasons for the New York Giants, so I'm sure he's had lots of head trauma, but he can take it. He has been knocked out once in the UFC, but against Roy Nelson, big guy. Travis Brown, he's not really known for his ground game. However, he's so big, he's so powerful. If he does just get the fight to the ground, he's not going to try to submit him. He's just going to look to pound him out. And for that reason, I think he's a good play for a finish.
So for Matt Brown, for which one? Travis Brown or Matt Mitrione?
For Travis Brown. Matt Mitrione will have better value on him. And with heavyweights, 100% with heavyweights, it's likely going to be a finish either way. And Matt Mitrione could theoretically knock Travis Brown out. So if you like to play multiple games, and especially if you're looking for a GPP and you need that one guy that not a whole lot of people are playing but could get a knockout, Matt Mitrione's good for that. So if you're looking for a cash game or something like that, you want to be a little safer, I like Travis Brown.
So let's differentiate between the two right now. A GPP or a tournament is a guaranteed prize pool tournament. That's the one that you see that has 20,000 people in it. You're going to, on DraftKings, you're going to find your $3, your $27, and you can submit multiple lineups. So the way to win these, obviously you need to have the 5 best scores because it's such a limited card, but you do want to kind of pivot off of maybe the most popular picks and go with the opposite of that when filling out your team, just to differentiate your roster a little bit. So if you're going to play 5 lineups, you play 3 that you have a lot of confidence in and maybe 2 that you don't, but you know that no one else is going to have that. For cash games, you're either going to play someone in a one-on-one contest in a 50-50, which means that 50% of the prize pool wins, or even a double up, where you double your money by winning. Around 47% of the people that enter those tournaments end up winning. So, I mean, for you, we talked about this last year because you were playing when you first started, you were playing these $3 tournaments, $5 tournaments, and you weren't getting a lot of return, but you started playing cash games and won every time.
Yeah, because cash game, you're literally just playing 1 or 2 other people, so you don't have to take much of a big risk. You just got to be listen, I think this guy's going to win. Well, do you think he's going to get a finish? No. But from my experience with cash games, if you just get all 5 of them to win, you're likely going to beat them because they've taken a risk on somebody. That one person loses, and that one person sets everything off. Likewise for GPP, you might be looking at an Augusto Mendez type of fighter. And you might be like, geez, I don't think Mendez wins this fight. But if he does win this fight, he's going to choke Charles Rosa out in the first or second round. If you think he might choke him out in the first or second round, go for that GPP. But if your brain's also telling you, well, he might just flat out lose the fight, don't use him on a cash game. You want to play your safer picks there.
Yeah, the safer picks for cash games and the more volatile picks, maybe some upsets. Throw an upset. You don't want to get crazy and play 5 upsets because that's just not going to happen. Except for that one card. What was that? Brazil last year where like all the underdogs won.
Yeah, listen, it's going to happen. And that's why when you look at these rosters, a lot of guys say, okay, well, there's a favorite, there's a favorite, there's a favorite. And when their roster has no more money or $100 left on it, they've built a team. They say, okay, this is the team I'm going to go with. But the problem is when most people look at these cards, they're looking at the main card too. They see that Travis Brown's on the main card. They see that Anthony Pettis is on the main card. If they like a guy like TJ Dillashaw, they see he's on the main card. Those are names you recognize. So guys, play those guys. You want to go dig on the undercard and get some guy who nobody's heard of because quite frankly, they don't know who this guy is. And if they don't know who Elvis Mutapcic is, and you like him, and he hits big because he's a dog, well, then you're laughing.
And that's where you come in and mind the value for me, because, I mean, I do recognize some of these names at the top, and that's what I would do, not knowing anything about it. Let's say I didn't know how to play daily fantasy. That's what I would get up to. I'd be like, oh, here's a favorite. I know that name. Of course he's going to win. But
Right.
You can't afford all these people. But we found that you doing these, like, is Fight Pass still a thing?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Big time. And
so-
they're amping it up this year, Pat. So we'll have lots of Fight Pass.
And that's the whole thing. You kill that because you actually know who these guys are. So let's start with the Fight Pass. What's the best Fight Pass fight that you think goes one way really heavily?
So obviously in the Fight Pass section of it, there was a lot of injuries recently, right? So with those injuries, they've kind of have to like switch things up. So with Francimar Barroso, he's taking on Elvis Mutapcic. My initial read on Francimar Barroso is not a very good fighter. He does have a decent UFC record, so to speak, but he always gasses out. He's only got a body kick, and he pretty much is just not a very good fighter. He was initially supposed to fight Abdullah. He was going to get smoked here, right? I mean, it was literally set up. He's fighting a Chechen fighter. He's going to get beat up. And then when his opponent ends up pulling out, then it's like, oh, okay, who am I going to get? Elvis Mutapcic short notice. So essentially you got the short notice guys who most guys don't see. They don't know much about him. I think there's some value in Mutapcic. I think that certainly with the price you're going to get from him, if you would like to make that as a play, not bad. Your other one is Rob Font. Rob Font's on the undercard. Here's the biggest thing with Rob Font here, Pat. He is a killer. He's got all the skills. He's a former, kickboxing champion out of Massachusetts, so he's kind of got that home crowd feel. He should be firing off on cylinders. His opponent, likewise, pulled out, and he's getting this Joey Gomez as a replacement. Rob Font should kill this guy. He should be able to knock him out in the first round. 2 red flags that jump up at me here is, one, he has not fought in 2 years, right? So he has not had a fight. How much that layoff is going to affect him, I don't know. The other problem is Joey Gomez, who is coming in on short notice. Most people, once again, don't know anything about him. He's undefeated as an amateur, like 4-0. He's undefeated as a pro, 6-0. All 6 of his fights are wins by knockout in a minute and a half or less.
So
all of them.
So Joey Gomez might be like if you're playing that 5th roster in a GPP play.
Absolutely.
Because that knockout, I mean, either he's going to get waxed or he's going to win by knockout in 30 seconds.
If you want to play a GPP and you're not 100% sure and you want to take some of these guys, you want Gomez. If you're playing in a cash game against 1, 2, or 3 opponents, you want Rob Font.
So the problem is these guys are both over $10,000. When we look back at the top of the card, whether it's Dillashaw, he's $10,100 on DraftKings, $5,400 on Kountermove. Anthony the Pettis File, he's up there at $1,100. He's $5,300 on Kountermove. Travis Brown's over $10,000 as well. So we can't afford all these guys. So out of all the top end, whether it's Dillashaw, Pettis, Brown, Font, or, oh my God, I really should have been listening when you said this guy's name, Francimar Barroso.
You know what? Once again, you could have got it if you committed. Francimar Barroso. But you gave it this Barroso. If you want to talk about strictly under guys that have a shot, I think Augusto Mendez is that guy. Because once again, you're going to get him on the Fight Pass.
Augusto Mendez!
Augusto Mendez.
Is he Italian? None of them are Italian, are they?
100%. He's a Brazilian fighter. From everything that I've seen, his striking is obviously a work in progress because he's a former jiu-jitsu champion, but he's coming a long way. And with Charles Rosa, he's a decent kickboxer, he's a decent grappler, he's a decent wrestler, he's got good cardio. So he tries to beat guys by just being a little bit better than them in a certain domain. He's obviously a better kickboxer than Mendez, but the ground game, not even comparable. And Charles Rosa, who's 2-1 in the UFC, has used grappling to win and lose all of his fights. Against Dennis Seaver, thoroughly taken down by a kickboxer with not much of a ground game. In his last fight, once again, it's like, okay, I've got to use my grappling, and he ends up losing. Sorry, he's 1-2 in the UFC, and he's used grappling predominantly in all 3 of these fights. So against Mendes is a little bit smaller than him and coming in at short notice. But once again, if Rosa tries to use his grappling, it is not going to go good for him at all. So I like Mendes. I don't like that he's jumping up a weight class. I don't like that he's making his UFC debut on a week's notice. And for that reason, I'm not all in on him. Well, for $8,600 on DraftKings, okay, you talked me into it.
It's kind of strange because on DraftKings, Charles Rosa is $10,800. That's one of the most expensive players. Yet on Kountermove, Mendes is $5,100 and Rosa is $4,800. So Kountermove actually has him as the favorite in this fight. So that's something to look for. I mean, even if you don't play Kountermove or you don't play DraftKings, it is helpful to look at both sides of the pricing to see where there's a value lapse. Because there's always going to be some. And, like, even when we go to the main event, like, we'll see it right now. Like, Dillashaw's 10-1, Cruz is 9-3, and on Kountermove, they're basically the same price. So who do you like in that fight?
Well, on Kountermove, the line essentially on the betting line, it's pretty near even with Dillashaw being that slight favorite. So I see that coming out on Kountermove. But for DraftKings, yeah, that's value. $9,300 as far as I'm concerned. As you mentioned, there's a lot of fighters that are in that 10,000 plus. So you need at least 2 fighters below 10,000, and you can fit whatever else you want. We've already talked about Augusto Mendes at 8,600. If you go Dominic Cruz at 9,300, then you can afford some heavy hitters, so to speak, on the rest of your lineup.
Who do you think wins that fight?
Dominic Cruz, I really do. Yeah, well,
can he finish? Because I was talking to other people.
I think he can.
I was talking to other people in the office, and they basically said Dillashaw is going to win by decision. And as we know, that's not the best for fantasy. You know, win's great, but this is a 5-round fight. I'm guessing it's main event.
Yeah.
So going to a decision in a 5-round fight isn't a lot of fantasy points.
No, you know what? I'll disprove that theory right now because I used to think like that as well. But look at that last Ronda Rousey fight, right? Ronda Rousey takes on Holly Holm, and then on the co-main event, you have Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the Polish fighter, was taking on Valerie.
Yeah, but haven't we found out over time that women fights just have more strikes in them, and they pile up points that way, and the men fights just don't go that way?
Right, but you know why women's fights end up piling the more points up? Because they're small and they're aggressive, and they're able to output a lot of punches. These guys are fighting at 135 pounds.
These guys are little?
TJ Dillashaw is known for his punch output. When he knocks guys out, Pat, he doesn't knock them out in the first round. He knocks them out in the 4th or 5th round because he hits you continuously the entire time.
Okay.
Dominic Cruz fights very much the same way. Now, Dominic Cruz is definitely more of a decision fighter. And for that reason, I'd say if one of them has a better chance of finishing, it would be TJ Dillashaw. But what I see happening is I think Dominic Cruz has TJ Dillashaw mentally broken, so to speak. And whereas TJ Dillashaw normally has his way with opponents and then in the 4th round turns it on, he's not going to have that luxury this time around. So I think by the 4th or 5th round, he's going to be, maybe I'm behind on rounds. He's going to try to turn it up. He's going to try to get aggressive. And in doing so, he'll play into Dominic Cruz's hands. So, if you ask me, do you think this fight is a finish for Cruz? Nah, I'm not really feeling it. However, this is MMA. Anything can and will happen. And for the value that you're getting on Dominic Cruz, I will take that chance. I will take that risk. And I think that if he gets the knockout, great. If he doesn't, he will pile up points.
And again, if you're going to take the underdog in these fights at the cheaper prices, that's not the end of the world. But if you're going to pay premium price for Dillashaw, he better get a knockout.
He almost needs to get a knockout. And against Dominic Cruz, yes, got finished by Faber with a guillotine choke one time. But let me tell you, this guy is not looking to get finished. He's very durable. And the only one thing, once again, is that this is a guy that's had almost 2 years off because of a knee injury. So he hurts his knee. He gets a knee out of a cadaver, right? And then that knee blows out as well. So he's had literally one fight in the span of like 36 months or something, which is, not great. But you see things of him in the gym. You see the way he's training. You see the way he's working out. You hear reports on him, and everything seems to be good. So I'm going to take this chance, and I'm going to say Dominic Cruz, the Dominator.
And where you save that money on DraftKings at $9,300, you can then afford Anthony Pettis at $11,000. And you just think he's going to win?
Yeah, so
by
actually,
a lot?
You know
like,
what?
Boom, over?
Initially, I wasn't 100% sure on it because in Anthony Pettis' last fight, he got his eye socket broken. And literally, as soon as it broke, and this was early in the first round when it got broken, you could just tell mentally he was like, oh, I don't want to get hit anymore. And then he's getting wrestled, he's getting taken down over and over, and mentally just threw him off. Eddie Alvarez, this guy he's fighting, this guy's a train wreck. Literally, he comes at you and swings bombs. And it's effective because a lot of the time you're like, I don't know what to do about this.
Does he do the Bart Simpson, like...
Oh, he might as well. If you walk into these punches, it's your bad. That's exactly it. And with that style, you're going to be able to pressure guys, and you're going to be able to hurt guys. When this fight first got announced, I thought to myself, you know what? Eddie Alvarez has got the style to hurt Pettis, to take down Pettis, to work Pettis. But if you watch back on Pettis' other performances, Pettis has got this head kick, right? And most of the time he hits you and you're either flat out cold or he hits you to the body and that sets up him to go to the head. And he's kicking his game, so to speak. In his last fight, Pat, he got dominated. But he kept kicking the guy in the head. And this guy, Brazilian, Rafael dos Anjos, would just be like, walk. He was like the T9900. Kill, kill. I was like, oh my God, this is not going good. Eddie Alvarez is human. He fights like he's not, but he is human. If one of those shins goes lopside the head, he's going to do the chicken dance. And if he does the chicken dance, he's going to go down. So Anthony Pettis, 11,000. I don't mind that.
So we have 5 other fights here, and there's one I really want to talk about, only because of the guy's name. His name is Maximo Blanco.
And you got it right.
Yeah, he's Maximo.
Yeah,
also,
he's
Brazil?
No, like Venezuela.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Latin America.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Venezuela.
He's taking on Luke Sanders. This is a very close fight in terms of odds, minus 130 to plus 110. Even the pricing on DraftKings, 9,900 to 9,500. Yet, on Kountermove, Blanco is 5,200 and Sanders is a scrub price.
Oh, yeah, scrub
at
price.
4,400. Is this Kountermove knowing what's up, or does DraftKings and the odds actually have it right?
I'm almost getting the impression that Kountermove maybe just didn't update the odds on Blanco from his previous opponent.
Okay.
And you sometimes see that where you're like, wow, he's a big favorite for whatever reason. Blanco has got all the skills. He's a former standout wrestler out of Japan. I know I say he's Venezuelan, but I think he went to school in Japan, wrestled there predominantly through most of his career. He, went to the Pan American Games, went to the World Championships, won tournaments in places like Azerbaijan. He's wrestled at a high level. Also, this guy can backflip, standing position, no problem, backflip, cartwheel, backflip, no problem.
Well,
striking.
The thing is, unfortunately, this isn't the gymnastics competition in the Olympics.
And that's the problem. One time, I saw him fight one time against Marcus Brimage, and he hardly threw any punches the entire time. And then at the end of it, he does a backflip. So his opponent's like, what? His opponent does they had a backflip off.
In mid-fight?
Right at the end of the fight. The fight ends, and they just have a backflip off, like do 4 backflips aside. And you know who lost that fight? Maximo Blanco. Because I'm sorry to say this, and I love fighting. I love fights. I love them all. This guy appears to be an idiot, right? He gets disqualified from a fight like not that long ago, and he's doing backflips, being like, yeah. And they're like, you got disqualified. And he's like, no, me no speaking no English. All the skills in the world. This guy could be a world champion. Unfortunately, his ring IQ is 0, non-existent. So Luke Sanders is coming in on short notice. He's an undefeated Resurrection Fighting Alliance champion. I like Luke Sanders. I think he's got the goods. And strictly based on fight IQ, I think he gets this win here. I really do.
So we don't like him so much on DraftKings, but Kountermove, if you take the 4,400 on Sanders on Kountermove,
have whatever you want,
and then you can afford the all-star team the rest of the way. I think that's a nice move here, especially for even cash or GPP, just having him on if you think that he can win.
I think he can win. And once again, it's like if you're going to play in a GPP, you want a finish. I really don't see him finishing Maximo Blanco.
But that's
can
okay.
He
He's
win
only
a decision?
4,400.
Exactly. Can he win a decision? I believe he can.
So is there any other finish that you can see here off in the card?
Yeah, I'm looking at a guy by the name of Ilir Latifi. He's a former Swedish wrestling champion. And the problem with Ilir Latifi...
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm glad I didn't have to pronounce that.
Yeah, I was hoping you would try to take a poke at that. When he fights good guys, he usually gets dominated. When he fights scrub guys, he kills them.
And Sean O'Connell is a scrub?
And Sean the real O.C. O'Connell falls into the scrub category. He's a radio host from Utah who just basically fights on the side and is going to probably get smashed here. So
does he even have like a training camp?
Yeah, he trains out of Utah, but once again, he's known for, inside the UFC, he's known for when he goes to the weigh-ins, he does like a gimmick. So like the one, they have their hands out and then he goes like, rock, paper, scissors, and puts the paper on the guy's hand. Or one, he like brings out, they like drink together, like it's weird. A lot of people think it's funny. Ha ha, it's funny. Well, enjoy your ha ha, it's funny jokes, because they're not going to be funny when you're lying unconscious. Ilir Latifi doesn't have a job. His job is show up to the gym and fight tough dudes. He's a short, stocky guy. He fights big guys on the regular. All accounts, his wrestling is super underrated. And like I said, when he fights crappy guys, he yields fantastic results. And I like Sean O'Connell. Seems like a nice guy. I'm going to put him in the lower echelon category of guys in the UFC right now. So Ilir Latifi should smash in impressive fashion. If not the first round, look for him to maybe get it done in the second round. And for $10,900 on DraftKings, a little expensive, but you can afford it. And on Kountermove, $5,400, one of the more expensive guys on that. But once again, if you got a Luke Sanders,
you can afford it.
It doesn't matter. You can afford it.
All right, well, let's get to your teams then. DraftKings-wise, you're going Anthony Pettis. You're going, oh my God, I should have been listening again. Latifi.
Yeah.
Going with that.
Yep.
Travis
First
Brown.
name?
Yeah, well, let's not go there. Ilir. X. I'm not even going to give myself an X for that one. It's not fair. Anyway, you're going Pettis, Latifi,
goaded you into it.
Brown, Cruz, and Mendez. And on Kountermove, you're going Latifi, Pettis, Cruz, Ross Pearson, who we didn't talk about, and Luke Sanders. Is it only because Pearson is $4,600 on Kountermove?
100% that's the reasoning. Ross Pearson has the goods to win the fight, but on straight betting line, and he is a slight favorite, I would avoid this guy altogether.
He's a minus 150 on the betting line.
Yeah, and if you like betting underdogs or certain underdogs that have a chance, Francisco Trinaldo, his opponent, has a chance. But for $4,600, hard to pass on Ross Pearson because
considering he's 10,300 on DraftKings, like he's an over.
Yeah.
Was this one of the fights that got replaced last second?
No.
That's strange.
Yeah, because there's only really two ways that this fight's going to go down. He's either going to blast Trinaldo. He's a much better boxer. He's much better, better footwork, better striker in general. He's either going to come out there and he's going to beat Trinaldo by the second or third round, maybe go to a decision, but beat him up the whole process, or he's going to get taken down and score no points. So clearly, DraftKings is thinking he's going to knock this guy out. Kountermove is thinking he's not going to score any points. And for $4,600, I'll take that risk all day.
I like it. Do you have any good bets this weekend?
Yeah.
How about Queen Latifah minus 265?
Oh, geez. I don't know if I'd go down the Queen Latifah route. And there's so many fights on this card that it's like, oh, I really like this fighter. Oh, opponent got hurt, pulled out. Oh, I really like this.
There's 3 of those fights, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, weird to me because you had 2 fighters pull out last week due to injuries. However, important to note, both those fighters were Chechnyan, this card happening in Boston, and one of them couldn't get a visa. So I don't know if there's something behind the scenes going on there that they both got yanked for political reasons late, but I was all over on both of them, right? So I don't know. I mean, Kareem Abdulov, which was the good light heavyweight prospect, was going to fight Broso. He would have been a fantastic pick. Taysumov would have been a decent pick too, but you'll have to catch him on another time. In terms of actual straight bets, Pettis is a little expensive. I'd avoid him. Latifi's a decent price. Brown is a fantastic price, but buyer beware with heavyweights, Pat.
Knockouts happen.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of DraftKings and Kountermove. You want a heavyweight. You just got to make sure you get the right one because you're going to get a lot of points if you get the right one. And if you don't, you're going to get basically 0.
Travis Brown, minus 155 on the betting line. Cody Saftik, check him out on Twitter at CJ Saftik and watch the bookie beatdown. Your partner, Paul Shaughnessy, also a member of the Pat Mayo Hour. And if people got through this, they might not know that he might know his MMA, but he knows his Bachelor better.
Yeah, quite the connoisseur. The Mel Kipers of Fantasy Bachelor.
Yeah, the Mel Kiper of just reality TV in general. He has all the breakdowns ready to go.
You know what? He's good on these like reality shows now, like Making a Murderer, because when someone's like, "Oh yes, I know what happened that day," he'd be like, "Do you see how they instinctively touched him?" Liar! Because he watches all these reality shows where that's what he figures out. He's very good with it.
So you can watch Bookie Beatdown for a more in-depth view, especially on the betting side of the entire MMA card. You can follow me at the PME on Twitter and subscribe to the Pat Mayo Hour on YouTube, iTunes, the whole shebang. Leave a review, 5 stars or 0 stars, whatever. It really doesn't matter as long as you leave the review. It's all a good thing. Pat Mayo, and I'll see you next time.